Hey everybody, I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Spencer.
And we're the Movie Bros.
Come at you back in 2021 with theaters reopen here in the Bay Area.
Before we do that,
Yes.
let's roll that intro.
I figured you were inserting the clip there.
I am.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
absolutely.
All right.
Today we saw Chaos Walking.
Yep, so this movie was directed by Doug Liman. It starred Tom Holland as the star Todd, Daisy Ridley as Viola, and Mads Mikkelsen as the mayor.
Spencer, what'd you think?
So this was not necessarily what I was expecting. I actually steered clear of the trailers on this one. I only had seen that it had Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley in it. I'm a fan of both of them. I think they're both young, up-and-coming actors who've kind of already started to make a name for themselves in Hollywood. And I was excited to see what they could do in what I kind of knew was a sci-fi-ish theme. But this was not really what I had expected.
Yeah, so the movie follows these two characters who are on a planet with people who have left Earth. The year is 2257, somewhere around there. And when men came through the atmosphere, all of a sudden it transformed them in some small respect where you could see a projection of their thoughts.
Yeah, and so you kind of come into the story not knowing really the background of things or how things have come to be. You just see that everybody who is on the planet, which is all men initially, just have this kind of thought bubble, like the little thought bubble coming out of them all the time.
Whoa, stop! Don't come any closer. It's a girl. Girl. Oh my gosh, girl. I'm sorry. No, blonde hair. I've just never seen a girl before.
Who are you?
And sometimes it's just audible, other times it's visual as well. It was a really interesting concept. I thought there were some really cool places they could go with this.
Yeah.
And there's an early scene that gave me a lot of hope where you see Tom Holland project something towards another person that was like a thought of his. And he used it in a really interesting mechanism. And I was really hoping they would go more down the rabbit hole with that one, and explore this kind of ability that had been granted to people. Unfortunately, that's not really how I saw the story play out.
I think it would be interesting. Imagine if everyone could see what you were thinking. You couldn't hide anything.
Right, unless you were especially skilled. And they kind of show that in the movie. There are some characters who are more adept than others at hiding their noise, which is what they call it in the film. But yeah, I mean, it would bring a new level of transparency to everything.
Yeah.
In some ways, I do wish we had it, but like I was thinking,
absolutely.
I'm thinking of all the things that I think on a normal basis that would get me in trouble. Maybe it's a good idea. I can not do that.
Keep that secret.
Yeah.
So, just to kind of break the movie down in the way that I look at it and the way I think about it, I thought that the movie was still, for me, was still a little slow.
Yeah.
I don't know what you thought about that. I thought the pacing was maybe a little slow. They probably could have chopped some stuff out, sped the movie up. Although I do think the movie was a good length.
Yes, I thought it was appropriate. Some of these blockbuster films that have come out, and even the sci-fi ones, where they need to develop the characters a lot, they're ranging that 2.5, sometimes 3 hours. This is an hour and 45 minutes thereabouts. I actually, well, we'll kind of get to it maybe a little bit further on, but I agree with you. I thought the first act was a little bit slow.
Yeah.
It's set in an era where that they have technology because they've traveled through space, but at the same time, these people are living more of like a settlers kind of lifestyle.
Kind of Wild West-ish.
Yeah, it has some
to it.
Wild West feels.
Yeah. What did you like about it?
I wanted to, and I think I sought to like the performance of Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley. I think that Mads Mikkelsen pretty much does the bad guy thing well in all movies. So that he's a shoo-in for that. I think he was, played his character well. I also did, and in fact, I did like the performance of the main actors. I thought that they played the roles to the best of their abilities, and I thought that they played up what I found to be otherwise a relatively dull script.
I would agree. The script was kind of dull, too. I also heard that, and now I have no idea because we, like Spencer said, we didn't really know much about the movie.
Yeah.
He happened to see a commercial and said, hey, I think we should see this movie. And I happened to check the theaters that were opening and we could see it. So that's really about the extent that we were going into this movie. I had heard, I'm not sure, that this movie had been filmed 3 years ago.
Interesting. I also heard something after having seen the trailer.
But it was sitting on the cutting floor for a while, I guess, in post-production.
So that happened with another movie that we saw, the New Mutants. Yeah. They don't necessarily age well. So I wonder, did she still shot this post Star Wars then? Daisy Ridley did. But I also heard that this is based on a book.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't really get a lot of. Someone just mentioned that, like, kind of in passing. But I could see how this was one of those adaptations of a novel that maybe just you need the length sometimes to tell the full story. While I actually did enjoy the movie, I thought it was a cool, fun sci-fi movie. I thought that there were a lot of fun elements. I liked the way the special effects were really cool.
Yeah.
The projection of one's thoughts, both visually and
audibly,
was really interesting. But I didn't really get the motivations of the bad guy, so to speak, in this.
Agreed.
Are never really explained. Like, it kind of almost becomes a weird sexist film. And so, no, really though, like, where it's basically like, so.
I don't think you should.
I don't think I should either. You're right.
Yeah. It's interesting because you're not 100% sure until probably the late second act, really sure who the bad guy is. And actually, there's more than one bad guy in this movie.
True. Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's almost a whole faction, as it were.
I would have liked to have seen more about the native life on the planet.
Yes.
I would have liked to see more of that story.
And that's, I think, where, we say the script, I really should say the screenplay. There were some funny interactions between the characters. I liked some of the chemistry between Tom Holland's character and Daisy Ridley's character. I thought that they played well off each other. And they really are the focal point of the movie. But yeah, there's a lot of things that get mentioned, but not really explored. And I think the native inhabitants of the planet are one of those things where it's like, it's this brief aside where it's almost just like brought up and then dismissed as this non-issue. And maybe that's something that's just lacking from the novels. Maybe it's something that they would explore if they were to make additional films in this series. I'm personally not. I'm okay if this is it though.
Yeah, agreed. I think the great part about it is, one, we got to see something that wasn't really trash on our first outing to see a movie in theaters. So I thought from that perspective it was good. I thought it was a good movie. Compared to what's out there, probably I'd recommend it.
I think the other thing is something that skews us a little bit is that this is the first movie we see in theaters. We're pretty excited to get back at it and actually see things in theaters. We've watched some poor cinema in the meantime.
Struggled through some stuff.
Yeah, it's desperate to watch things, but simultaneously not having anything enticing to view. But anyways, I think let's kind of get down to it. Yeah.
I thought the movie visually looked cool. Like you said, I thought the special effects were really interesting. I would have liked to have seen more about the natural inhabitants of this planet. I would have liked to see more of that. I would have loved to have learned a little bit more, maybe have some flashbacks or something about why there was no women on the planet, at least
initially.
And for me, I thought the movie was good. I didn't think it was trash. I didn't think it was amazing. I thought it was probably the best movie we could see this weekend. So for that reason, I'm going to give this one a 6.75.
Okay.
I want to give it a little bit more, but
I like it. That is the first. We're now breaking into quarter points. I like it. All right, we're getting real specific with your reviews
Yes.
here. Right? That is how much we care.
6.89. Go ahead.
Excellent. So much contrast was used in the case, by the way. Anyways, I too thought the film was very entertaining. I did like the performances by the star actors. I think that they kind of played up what was otherwise not a particularly strong script. I think where this movie does really fall flat, though, is just the overall screenplay. It feels a little disjointed. I can't say it's rushed if it's been sitting on the cutting room floor for years, but maybe just wasn't the most well put together, didn't have the most cohesive direction behind it, because the story, while it's kind of fun, it's a very shallow story in terms of like explaining why things are happening. And so for an entry-level movie, it's a 2021, you want an entertaining sci-fi flick with a kind of a cool idea behind it that maybe just fell a little flat. I think this is a great movie to watch. I'm gonna give it a 6.25.
Whoa.
I'll join the party.
Well, and I think movie theaters historically put out their least, I guess, the least sought after movies right in this very end of February, very beginning of
That's
March.
true. This is not a blockbuster season.
Yes, as they're starting to ramp up towards spring break, 4th of July, summer. So, it was good to see a movie. I could totally see some executives in a movie, at a movie company saying, hey, they're opening theaters back up. Let's put this one out.
Yeah, this has been sitting around for years.
Yeah, let's get this one out. Let's get it out the door.
Recoup some losses here. I mean, we're just really excited to be back. We're excited to go see some things in theaters again, and we did get to see a few previews while we were there that I'm very excited for. I think it's going to be a fun return to theaters.
If there's something you think that we should review, whether it's a movie that's coming out, whether it's something that's coming out on a streaming service, or even a TV series, let us know in the comments below. We'll be sure to check it out. What do you got for him, Spencer?
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe. Really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. We're just excited to be back. Welcome back in 2021.
See you guys on the next one.
Movie Bros out.